Today we're comparing Baja designs to the Chinese cheap reproductions. Is Baja designs worth 10 times the price tag? Find out in this video. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to do is unbox the Baja designs and show you exactly what it comes with versus the Chinese counterparts. This 10-inch right here was actually shipped in a regular cardboard box like the one underneath, and that one was actually packaged in a soft paper envelope in there with the brackets, and you can see like the bottom here is all beat up and scratched up from the brackets beating on it while it was shipped. So let's open up and check out what's inside the box. All right, so everything's obviously packaged up super nicely. Cable comes with a plug, and there it is. There's the light, and you could right away tell that this is a quality product. Before we get into the comparison, I'm gonna take everything out of the box and show you everything that it comes with. Get a little pamphlet with some brands that Baja partners with. You also get your product registration card, get a Baja Designs decal, and the bag of goodies. So it looks like you get a plug, and I'll explain what that's used for. You get your mounting hardware, an additional plug in here, and I'll also explain what that is used for. And you get your instruction manual with a wiring diagram. So Baja Designs has their patented moisture block system. So essentially, if you cut this connector off for any reason, it'll void your lifetime warranty. So Baja Designs actually has a microprocessor inside the light, which allows you to wire up to be able to dim it and to be able to use it as a strobe light. That's where the other connectors come in. If you're looking to just hook it up on a switch without the dimming option and without the strobe option, obviously you would be using this pigtail right here and essentially putting your wires through with this, plugging it in, and you would have a 2-wire connection. If you are going to be running with the strobe light option and the dimming option, then all you do is you wire up this plug with your 3 wires and you plug it in. Extremely simple. So the reason why I wanted to do this review was because obviously, just like any other company out there, Baja Designs is getting ripped off, and you have your Chinese counterpart that they kind of threw things together. So we'll do a comparison of light, and I do know that this is yellow and these lenses are clear. That's why I ordered clear lenses for the Baja Designs light bar to put it on there so we could do a side-by-side comparison with the same color light. Baja Designs has a thing called U-Service, and basically what you're able to do is purchase any color lens for any of their light bars. So for example, this is a 10-inch. If you were to go to the bigger one, you would end up buying 2 instead of 1, and these are only like, I think, $20 or something like that, which is very cheap, and it gives you the lens and a new O-ring. So the reason why Baja Designs is so great is because they don't use silicone or any of that crap to seal off their lights. They use a O-ring that seals the lights. Since that is like one of the biggest things about Baja Designs, of course the Chinese companies want to replicate that. It's more for just to show you that they're there and not functionality. In some areas, you could actually see where the O-ring is flattened, and in others, it is completely not even touching the lens. So there is another O-ring inside, and I could see it in there. But once again, I could see that it's not on straight, and it looks like there's portions of it that are kind of missing in here that are not sealing up to anything. Like in there, there's a huge gap. Baja Designs features BMT, which is their battery management technology. Essentially what happens is if your vehicle's system drops below 13.5 volts with the light bar on, the light bar will gradually begin to throttle its output to maintain constant current. If you turn something on while your light is working, like another light bar or something like air compressor kicks in, basically this will dim to protect the wiring and your charging system, so it's working the way that it should. Which that alone, in certain cases like UTVs for example, this is absolutely awesome. All right, so the major difference here, you could tell that the Chinese light bar is larger. It has a separator in the middle because they go by 3s versus 6 pieces. So the way that the actual LEDs in the Baja Designs are used, they're able to drive them at 100% versus something like this that it is guaranteed that is not driven at 100%. As far as I know, Baja Designs are the only ones that have their LEDs driven at 100%. The fit and finish. So here is the fit and finish on the Chinese light bar. Here in the corners, they're using silicone to seal it off, and there, look at that. You can see the O-ring on the bottom here sticking out. There's a spot that's sticking out right here, 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 here. If you look at it the right way, you could actually see all the way through the lens. So these are definitely not sealed whatsoever. That's what my guess is. The cooling fins, some of them are bent. The actual cast aluminum, I think this is cast aluminum from what it looks like. The ends and this part right here, the grinding marks and all of that you can see. And this fin is, the fin right here is actually ground off too much. These are actually the closest ones to the Baja Designs that I found. And I wanted to show you guys and actually even see for myself, is it really worth all that extra money versus something cheap? Like this guy, that was 50 bucks. So we know we have a great warranty. We know we have a great company behind it, and they'll support you and stand behind their product. We know that we could even customize this versus somebody that you probably won't even find the seller on eBay a month later. All right, let's pop this open. And once again, you're greeted with the registration card for the warranty. You have your Baja Design sticker. Here is the actual LED. All right, so this one does actually come with a wiring harness. You have your switch right here, your waterproof switch from Baja Designs. You also get the mounting brackets, and you get your connectors to wire up your wires into. So these are customizable as well. You can change out the color of the lens, the pattern of the lens. You could either get a complete flood or spot, or whichever you need basically color wise. By removing these bolts, you take it off, and you also get the ability with this to buy different faceplates. So if you need to flush mount it, you have the ability to do that. Weight wise, they're actually about the same thing. I want to say this one's slightly heavier because it has all this extra stuff that Baja Designs doesn't. From the front, you can see the quality of the lens is way better. And this guy comes in. So these are actually, I think, 2 for $20 or $30 or something like that on eBay. And it's kind of a funny story about this. because the one that they had pictured in the picture does not have this cross section to make it look more like the Baja Design Squadron. And the one that I received in the mail actually has this square part in it. These reflectors inside, if the LED is off center, the reflector will show that in the way that it's reflecting the LED in there. So you see the yellow part, which is the LED, like this top one right here. This is center looking at the camera, and you could see only this side of the LED goes forward. This one doesn't even touch. This one upper corner, and you could see that in retrospect to how off center it is mounted. And it actually looks like, from the finish of it, it looks like it was painted with a brush actually. So you can see the brush lines on here. So this is definitely painted, it's not powder coated. So you could see the quality of this. You have the nice anodized finish. You have the nice brushed anodized finish on the Baja designs. You could see the LED pointed right at you. The circle is nice and centered. Same thing here. When you go to the center, the LED is centered. So you're obviously using this reflector to its maximum capacity, just like this. When you go right to center, you could see the whole reflection of the LED, which is awesome. All right, guys, so appearance is one thing, but what about the light output? Well, so we're going to mount up the OnX6 on the Jeep. I'm going to change out the lens. I'll try to also get some drone footage so you can see what the light difference is from one to the other. So I got the light mounted up on the bumper on the JL using some clamps so we could quickly remove the light and swap it out for the other one to do the side-by-side comparison. Swapping out the lens is super simple. Removing those screws in the front, popping off the front lens with the O-ring, and installing the new one with the new O-ring. Lining everything up and then installing the screws back in by hand before tightening them in a crisscross pattern. So I loaded up my drone and all my gear and went off to find an empty dark field where I could do a side-by-side drone shot for you guys in order to see the difference between the two lights. Alright, so this is drone footage from 300 feet above, and you can see I turned on the fog lights, headlights, and now the Baja Designs light bar. And I'm gonna go back off in the same order. Those are just fog lights, and there's nothing. And this is just the light bar. So this is the same thing with the Chinese bar. This would be the fog lights right here, then headlights, and the Chinese light bar right here. You could tell that the Chinese light bar has less of a focus on it, and here's just the light bar by itself. It doesn't have as much reach on it as the Baja Designs does. Here's a side-by-side fog lights, headlights, and then both of the light bars turn on, and you can see how much more focused the Baja Designs is and how much further it throws the beam versus the Chinese light bar. And here's also just the light bar without the headlights and the fog lights. Again, you can see how much more focused it is. So looking at it, you can see how much more light the Baja Designs is capable of producing versus the Chinese light bar. So next we're going to be moving on to the Squadron, and instead of swapping out the lenses on the Squadron, I decided that I was going to use one of my Rigid Industries dually lens covers that's orange to place over the light so we can see in fair comparison with the light color what it can do in the backyard. So this is the Chinese light, and I gotta say I was fairly impressed with what it puts out as far as light output. You can see the trees in the background. It hits it fairly nice, and it's got a decently focused beam, but you can also see that there's a lot of bleeding on the side with the focused beam. Now this is a spot beam, so it is going to be slightly different from the Baja Designs. Other than that, to say the least, I was fairly impressed with this. until I turned on the Baja designs and I saw what the Squadron can actually do. And for this little light to be able to put out so much light output, I was very impressed. And you could clearly see the light output with the different beam patterns. You could see the flood is flooding out nicely to the sides and slightly to the bottom. And then you see the spot right in the center that reaches out far. And the Baja Designs definitely puts a lot more light output out. When it comes to buying something like this, you want it to last, and Baja Designs is something that's going to last you for a long time versus the Chinese lights that will probably get condensation within the first couple of weeks of you having them in the rain. So in the end, in this case, really you get what you pay for. The Baja Designs is packed with a lot of technology and a lot of different options for you to tailor the lighting to whichever application you may need, as the Chinese light bar really doesn't come with anything. With my past experience with these cheap light bars, the issue was always condensation and moisture inside the light bar. And no matter what you do to seal it off, even if you use a tube of silicone, eventually water makes it inside the light bar, making the light bar useless in a month or two. And when it comes to Baja Designs, you really don't have to worry about that. And if for some reason something does happen, it's backed by a lifetime warranty from a great company. So after doing a side-by-side comparison and seeing the difference in quality for myself, I have to say, the Baja Designs, in my opinion, is worth every penny. So the Squadron is going to be installed on my Jeep JL as fog lights, and the OnX6 is going to be going on my Can-Am Maverick X3. So if you guys are curious about seeing the video on the Can-Am, make sure you smash that subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button, and hopefully I made your decision a little bit easier. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Later.